Hey everybody, starting to get a little chilly out here in Texas. There I go with the us again. The weather is slowly changing. Yesterday we almost hit 70. Mm, mm, love it. But as it always do here in winter in Texas, we always hit a peak around mid 60s to the low 70s. And that means snowstorm the next day. So this is the next day. So, and they're talking about we're going to drop down 30 degrees a day by 4 o'clock. So we got like a 8-hour time period where temp is going to go from the low 60s down into the low 30s. So we're talking about a 30 degree swing with the possibility of snow. Go figure. We get a spring one day, we get a snow blizzard the next day. Welcome to Texas. Gotta love it. Anyways, I'm Marcus Thompson for Boss Life. And today I want to talk about missed opportunities. Now, I don't mean mixed. What I want to talk about is not necessarily missed opportunities when it comes to success in business or success as far as financial gain. I just mean missed opportunities, period. I believe the one thing that separates the haves and the have-nots is the ability to capitalize on opportunity. Being prepared for opportunity. And I believe that's what keeps us in what we call a rat race. That's what keeps us as 9 to 5ers. A lot of us do not seize the day, carpe diem, as they like to say. We just don't. We are too ignorant to get out our own way. We're not educated enough to do so. When we're working, we see the check writers come walking along, and we kind of got this scowl on our face, or we might get scared and soldier up, trying to look like the perfect soldier. I'm the perfect worker. Look at me, boss. Look at me, boss. When in actuality, maybe we should just walk up and shake their hands and say hello. That puts a new spin on things, don't it? And I believe that's because most of us are bred to believe a us versus them mentality. It's like a pack mentality. That envy, that jealousy, that hate towards upper management, especially the C level, where they actually sit down and write their checks. It's a us versus them. As if we're all part of there that word go again. As if we're all part of a union. That's a very union type of thinking, us versus them, the workers versus the bosses. And that's one thing I'm glad I'm not part of a union no more, because I don't have that buffering zone. I don't have to worry about an us versus them mentality. I can form my own vision. I can present myself in the way that I want to present myself in front of them. If I see them walking the floor, maybe I just want to say, hello, how you doing today? My name is Marcus Thompson. This is what I do, and I'm glad to meet you. Just spark up a conversation, because just because they got a title doesn't mean that they're not human. Okay? So maybe we should try that sometime and see what kind of lasting effect that might have. And you don't necessarily got to be shitting and grinning all in their face like, look at me, boss. You ain't got to do that. Just extend a hand and say hello. And just start a simple relationship over that. Now, some people might get mad, and I done had this done to me once before when I was working at Granger. By the way, story time. When I was working at a company called Granger, back when I was between the ages of 19 and 23, I was one of them guys. I was fearless when it comes to people and their title. I don't know if you call that youthful ignorance or just flat out being dumb. But I have never had a healthy fear of those who were above me. So whenever they had like a meeting in the upstairs room, in a conference room. The break room was right next to it. So whenever I see them guys come out, I just walk up to them and say, hello, how you doing? Well, what do you do for a living? I'm Marcus Thompson. I work on the floor, and I'm sitting up here talking to executives. So much so that after a while, when a certain one of them see me, they'll wave and talk, say hello. And it even gotten to a point where whenever they had a luncheon or a breakfast brought in, they were asked me to come sit down and eat with them. That was amazing, because I didn't ask for anything. I didn't scowl at them. I didn't treat them no different than how I would treat a friend. And that right then and there told me a lot about people who are in those positions, in those higher positions, who we call bosses, and who we scowl at, who we curse their name, curse the day that they were born. They're human. And it got to a point like that where my bosses and their bosses told me to stay away. They were getting pissed off because I was making more headway where I was at. I'm just a box mover, as I like to call myself. All I did was just push boxes and drive forklifts all day. And I was super young, fresh from out of high school, probably no more than 2 or 3 years removed from high school. And here I am sitting down with CEOs, COOs, all these corporate people who were 10, 15 years older than me and had a large status in this billion-dollar company. But yet they choose to sit down and eat breakfast with me and shoot the crap with me. Looking back at it now, that's a missed opportunity. I was too ignorant to get out my own way. That's a relationship that I should have kept growing. And eventually I got fired. We all go through that. We all have opportunity. If somebody tells you something, like for example, if somebody say, hey, I don't know, let's come up with something. If somebody say, hey, your electricity is messing up in your house. I'm an electrician. Won't you be home the same day tomorrow? And I come by, take a look at it. And if it's simple, I go ahead and knock it out for you. I go ahead and fix it for you. I get them wires that are crossed up. I get them corrected. You ain't got to worry about it. And a lot of us be like, okay. And then, as I like to say, life comes at you fast, right? So the next day, say, I don't know, your kids got to go to soccer practice. So you choose to go take the kids to soccer practice instead of getting your electricity done right in your house. Or say that somebody offered to fix your car or to look at your car, because I'm a mechanic, and this happens all the time. From people I meet at work to people I meet in my personal life, it happens to me all the time. I would tell them, hey man, I can swing by your house and take a look at your car, get you up and running, possibly. And in a 12th hour, as they like to call it, the last minute, either they don't call me or they just change the plans because life happens. Well, people, sometimes you just can't let life happen in that manner. You won't accomplish much because life is always going to happen. It's how you deal with it. It's how you bounce back from it. When opportunity is right there for you, sometimes you just got to say, damn the rest, and go see about it. Go be about it. And as I just told you, I'm a victim of that myself. There's been plenty of times. Here's another story. Let me tell it to you. I took economics class. I was in economics 1 studying. And I met this one older cat. I never knew his background. I never asked him for his history. All I knew is that he was an older gentleman, probably in his early 50s, mid 50s at the time. And this is about 4 or 5 years ago. And we sat next to each other. All we did was just talk, just life in general. And we both didn't, there were certain equations we didn't get in economics class. So we had each other to bounce ideas off of. And eventually we passed, we passed the class. Needless to say, this guy was from Canada and he just sold about 10 of his businesses. So he was a low-key millionaire, and I didn't even know it. I didn't know it until towards the end of the end of the semester. The semester was almost gone, and he had an oil changing business up in Canada, about 10 of them, and he sold them all off, got his money, and he was just in school to learn something new. You know, he had money. And I found out about this because one day we were just talking about business. And he was always talking about how he was always trying to find something to get into. And so he gave me his card and told me to keep in contact with him and maybe we could do something. Me and my own arrogance, I wasn't thinking about that. I was on some other stuff. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm not worried about this business. I'm not worried about that business. I'm on some other ordeal. Now, a lot of y'all might say, and I lost his business card. My wife got on me about that because I lost his business card. Now, a lot of y'all would say the mistake was that I lost his business card. No, the mistake is that I didn't get his phone number earlier and programmed it in my phone a lot sooner. I had, how long is 12 to 16 weeks in one semester? This guy sitting next to me, talking twice a week to one another, seeing each other, maturing a relationship with this guy, and it's just going in the wind. Missed opportunity. I'm not saying I could have been a gajillionaire right about now, but I'm pretty sure dealing with somebody like that, I would have been better off than where I'm at right now. Because what I'm seeking now is what I could have used him for, and that's for a mentor. And that's one thing that I wish I would have had the sense to understand, is that it ain't about what you want. A lot of times, no, let me rephrase that. It ain't about how you. I'm trying to phrase this right so it'll be understandable. Pretty much what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it's not you who gets you from point A to point B. It's that mentor. You understand? It's that mentor who's going to hip you to some game, who's going to help guide you on a particular path. You might be on the rockiest path. It might be too rocky. It might be too much for you. A mentor is like a GPS, like, here, don't go down that path, go down this path. And he might show you a whole new path you never saw before. And you didn't see it because you can't see past those trees. All you know is there's a whole bunch of trees over this road. You can't see, it's dark. But he don't traveled that road plenty of times, many of days before you. And he's like, hey, I bet you didn't know about this. It's the same example as when I was playing Nintendo games back in the day. And instead of just right out playing Zelda or some kind of crazy game on Nintendo, I go get the Game Pro magazine, take out the map, and there you go. And look at the hints and tricks and find more ways to overcome the game. That's what a mentor is for. But that only happens if you take advantage of your opportunity. There's nothing wrong being opportunistic. Because the one time you do seize that day, might be the day that changed your life, and every generation after you for the best. I'm Marcus Thompson for Boss Life. Thank you for joining me today. You have a good one.